This is Carl at National RV Detroit, and I'm going to walk you through this 2021 Forest River Salem model 26D BUD. Okay, I'm on the door side of the trailer, walking towards the rear. Alrighty, so you obviously have a power awning with an LED light strip. You've got two entry doors, one that enters through the bathroom here in the back, and it's got a traditional step on it. Okay, now the thing to know about these stabilizers, they're typical scissor type stabilizers. You use a 3/4 inch crank or a 3/4 inch socket on a drill, but these have an added feature, these strong arms here, which take the forward to rearward and back and forth movement, or to and fro movement off of it. So you always want to leave this open, this T-handle, I should say loose, right? And after you lower this down into place, then you'll tighten it up to take the movement out of the trailer. Always loosen it back up before you bring the scissor jack back up also. So you have one of these on each corner. Just remember to keep this loose, except when you get it down into your stabilizing position, then tighten it up. I just want to show you while I'm here. See that white gate valve right there? That is the quick dump valve for your fresh water tank. So it's clean fresh water. If you're using your tank and you're going to head back out on the road, you want to empty your tank out so you don't carry water around with you. You can just dump that, and it's not a slow trickle like the typical petcock type. It really comes gushing out. So it's just a much faster valve. Okay, you got outside speakers, you have a antenna out here, power, and here they're telling us there's a TV backer back there if you wanted to hang a TV outside. Now when it comes to your fresh water tank, this is where you would fill it right here. Now 9 times out of 10 you're going to be using city water hookup because most campgrounds these days have it. But you go to some of the more rustic campgrounds and some of the older state parks, like a state park would have a fill station when you first come through the gate over by the ranger station. It's a tank of water basically, and so you would fill your onboard tank through this port right here and then use the onboard pump to pump water. But you only use this if you don't have city water. It's just something to allow you to camp under more primitive conditions and still have all the plumbing functioning inside the trailer. So that's to fill the fresh water tank. There's also a spray port here. This has a blue coiled sprayer. You plug it in right there with this quick connect. Let's see here. This has, let me start with the fridge here. That is the sprayer that I told you about right there. You just plug that into the quick connect. This is your LP line here. This griddle here has to be plugged in. So you have this quick connect right here. And this female end, if you can see it, this female end will go right on here, right? And then the male end goes down here. If you can see the quick connect on the trailer right there. Make sure you turn the valves forward into the on position, if it has them. And that's it. You just have to remember to hook up the hose before you turn it on and you're all set. Okay? Alrighty, so this is the vent for your range hood that's over the range. Obviously, if you're going to use the fan, you'll want to free up this baffle right here. See how it's moving right now? Well, normally it's shut like this, just snaps shut like that. But if you're going to use the vent in the range hood, the fan in the range hood, I mean, you want to free that baffle up. You'll just pull it loose, unlatch it, so it flaps freely and allows it to vent to the outside. Okay. So, your main stairs fold right into the trailer. They're very stable. If you're on uneven terrain, keep in mind that you can pull this pin completely out right here. There's one on each leg. And you can adjust your legs up and down accordingly to get a good solid footing, okay? Okay, so this small crank right here is for, let me look here, is for your power tongue jack in case it was to fail. And this top one here is for the This rod here is for the awning in case you have to do it manually. You'll have to read your directions on the awning tool. But this smaller crank will fit right on here. If this ever fails on you, you can pull this cap off, put the crank on there, and crank it manually. You're also going to have a regular crank. I think it might be under the bed or something, but I'll make sure it's in here either way. So you do get a crank with it, obviously, to crank the stabilizers up and down. You got 2 LV tanks that are filled. You've got a deep cycle marine battery, and this is the kill switch for your battery here. So if you put it into storage, you can kill it by turning it off. Normal, about other times you're going to keep it on, of course, unless you're storing it. All right. Got a slide topper on your slide out. These are your dump valves here, and this is your city water hookup. So I showed you where you can fill the onboard water on the other side, but if you're going to use city water, which is what you'll do at most campgrounds, you'll just hook your water up here, turn it on, and you're all set. This is a black tank flush for flushing your black tank. Let me show you how that works. All right, so your valves will be closed like this, okay? You got 3 of them. So you got, let me back up so you can see it here. I've had a hard time seeing the monitor as usual in this light. Okay, so this is the black tank valve. Black tank is toilet water and waste. Gray tank, sink and shower water. The other gray tank, that's sink water. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to put your hose on here, put it in the dump station. Then you're going to dump the black first. So you just dump it. Whoosh. That was my sound effect there. Anyway, then you're going to do the 2 gray. The reason you do it in that order because the gray water is cleaner water than the black water, which is toilet water and waste, right? So you use the sink and shower water to wash out the hose and everything with the toilet water and waste. So you'll always dump the black first, then the gray. But if then you leave your black valve open, you can come over here and hook your hose at the dump station up here, right? And turn it on. It'll spray the inside of your black tank out, clean the sensors off really well, that sort of thing. So it's a good thing to do. Okay, this is just cable and satellite through to the inside of the trailer. This is your water heater. The switches to operate it are inside, except you need to know that, let me show you. This right here, this rocker switch is on and off. This switch here in the lower left corner controls an electric heating element that's behind this cover here. Right, so I just want you to know that that's there. So you got to always turn that on before your electrical work. But these other switches are inside the trailer. This is your drain right here, 1 1/16 socket, 6-point socket. You can pull out your drain plug. That's a fresh water valve, or I should say a pressure release valve. So obviously never release the pressure or pull the plug if you got hot water in the tank. Always wait for it to cool down, of course. You've got a backup camera right here. It's all set, ready to go. And while I'm pointing up, you have to remember that if you own a trailer, you have to inspect it. The manufacturers suggest you inspect it, the roof especially, every 90 days. So you figure in the spring, in the middle of the summer, then in the fall, you'll go up there and walk around. You can walk up there no problem. Check out all the sealant on the roof. Make sure there's no crack in your separation. If you see anything, some year when you're up there you will. That's why you're inspecting it. Just so when it gets to the point you need to touch it up, you'll be aware of it. I guess that's the best way to put it. Also, you look at the sealant. Any place you see caulk from the factory on the side, always check that out too. Doesn't take you long. It's going to take you like a half hour, 3 times a year, so it's no big deal. It'll take you longer to drag the ladder over there than it will to do the inspection. So, okay, let's go inside here. All right, so here we are inside. And this is your control panel here. So your slide out control is here. I'll just move it a bit so you can see it. All right, very simple. When you hear the ratcheting sound, like that, you just take your finger off the button. It does that retracting or extending. It just keeps you from over retracting or over extending it. It's supposed to ratchet like that, okay? Just take your finger off the button when you hear it. Your awning, your power awning is right here. Okay, there's your lights. So the thing to remember about the awning, it goes out 8 feet, and you'll see the awning tube when it's all the way out. You'll see the awning tube, and that's 8 feet. Keep in mind you never leave it out unattended, so if you're not going to be at the campground, you always roll up the awning, because the weather can change in just an instant and break your and damage your awning. Flip it right up onto the roof is pretty common, so keep in mind that you always want to have it rolled in when you're not at the campsite. Alright, so this is your battery right here is charged, you see. Fresh water has still got 2/3 in it, but we're still water testing it. Black is empty, gray is empty, and the galley is empty. The galley is sometimes called gray tank number 2. That's for the kitchen sink. It's the second gray tank, okay? So obviously as these fill, they'll graduate up in 1/3 increments. They'll light up. Once you get past 2/3, you got to start thinking about dumping your gray tank and your black tank, of course. I showed you how to light the water heater on gas, or how to how to turn on the electric for the water heater. Well, if you need to use the gas, you do that right here. Okay, most people just use the electric heating element because you're paying for the electricity at the campsite. You're not going to guzzle up any of your LP, so you just run it on electricity. I also told you you could pump water from the freshwater tank. There's the pump. You also use the same pump when you're winterizing the trailer, something you'll have to do when the weather starts getting down to freezing and below. Okay. You got a pantry. You have a fireplace. Now this fireplace works on 110 AC, and it is a space heater, so on cold evenings or mornings, you can just crank this thing on, and you don't have to use up any of your LP. Again, you can say that for when it's really cold. You can just take the chill out with this. Now it has a remote control, of course. 62, you can see that's the temperature. Let me see here. So, low, high, let me get closer so you can see it. Off, low, and high, that's the fan speed. Okay? You can adjust the appearance of the flame by doing this, okay? Set the temperature this way. Okay? It's very simple. And then off. Of course, there's buttons on the fireplace too. You don't have to use a remote, but it's there if you got it. And then you got another remote here. This is for your sound bar. It does plays FM radio. You can stream off this USB stick right here, or off this USB port right here with a USB stick. You can put all your favorite albums on it on one USB drive and just take it all with you. You can go into the system through this HDMI if you want to. You could set a game machine here. If you have your TV up here, right? You'd set a game machine here to basically keep kids or grandkids busy on a rainy weekend or something like that. Keep in mind that this is the signal booster for your digital antenna for the television. If you shut it off, it won't get a good picture, so you always want it to be green like that, okay? I said that you can stream off this USB. You can also stream with Bluetooth from your phone or your tablet, and you can hook up wirelessly, obviously. You got 2 speaker zones, 1 and 2. 1 is inside the trailer, 2 is outside the trailer. So there's a lot you can do with it. When it says this is pre-wired with this kingconnect.com, it's basically telling you that this is pre-wired for a signal booster and router for Wi-Fi. So there's another port on the roof, and you would hook if you got the kit or if you had somebody install it, you'd put an antenna on the roof. It's already wired for it, and then you'd put the router here, and basically just boosts campground Wi-Fi, and all your devices will have the password to your router in it automatically, so they'll hook up automatically. And then all you have to do is go to the router's page, basically, or the signal booster's page on the internet, and hook up to public Wi-Fi with it. So that's what that's all about. Okay. Alrighty. So your microwave works like any other microwave. I showed you the vent on the outside for your range hood. If you turn the fan on, remember to open the baffle on the outside. Light, of course, you can light this by turning your sparker clockwise. I don't know if he's got the gas on right now. We'll have to see. I don't hear it running. No, he's got it off. So, but anyway, as you spark it by turning that clockwise, it'll light. When it comes to your oven, keep in mind that there's a pilot light at the back on the bottom, all the way back there. Right? So what you do is you'll go to the picture of the flame, which means pilot, and then you depress it and hold it. Then you'll spark this by turning it clockwise, keeping an eye on the pilot light back there, and when the pilot light lights, you're still holding this in, of course. When it lights, you hold it for another 10 seconds or so to let things heat up, and then you go to the operating temperature. It cycles on and off as an oven does, but when you shut off, obviously the flame will go out, but so does the pilot light, so you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven, okay? Always travel with this closed, or it will tend to break. You've got a 12-volt compressor refrigerator, so it runs on 12 volts. So when you're pulling it down the road, this is attached obviously to your battery up front. The battery up front is being charged by the alternator on your tow vehicle, so you can run this going down the road. Below it is the power converter. So this converts 110 AC to 12 volt DC. So you can see you got regular household type circuit breakers here, 110 AC, and they're labeled. Then you have the power's converted over to 12 volt DC. That's why they call it a converter. And you got 12 volt fuses here, and they're labeled. So this turns 110 AC into 12 volt DC. This refrigerator runs on 12 volt DC, so when you're plugged in at the campsite or wherever, it'll supply the 12 volts to keep your refrigerator running. Like I said, when you're pulling it down the road, your tow vehicle will supply the 12 volts, or keep charging your battery, I guess is a better way to put it, to supply your trailer, okay? Also, this is a battery tender, so as long as you're plugged in at a campsite or at home, wherever, this power converter will send 12 volts up to the battery, and always make sure your battery is charged. So, okay. There is a little fan inside that'll kick on and off occasionally. You'll hear it when there's a load put on it. This device here is a carbon monoxide LP gas detector. It should always be green like it is. There is a test button on it if you ever want to test it. It's right there. Go through 2 self-tests. One more coming up. There you go. Back to green. It should always be green. If it's not, you get it serviced. Okay. Obviously, if it goes off, you're going to take everybody outside, leave the door open, shut the gas off at the front, and figure out what's going on. Okay, so this is obviously a pantry. Now this, if you notice, this panel at the bottom screws on with 4 screws. Your water pump is behind there, and so is the winterizing hose. And there's a valve you can switch to draw antifreeze into the system through your water pump. So that's where you winterize the trailer from. The only other thing you have to remember about winterizing is your water pump has to be put into bypass mode before you pump any antifreeze into the system. So to access your water heater, you're going to just pull this cushion out. Then you're going to undo these 2 screws here on this panel right here. You pull that off, and your water heater will be in the far corner, and there'll be valves on the back. Those are called bypass valves. So you have to, if you don't know about that, you'll have to educate yourself a bit. But you can never pump antifreeze into the system without bypassing the water heater first. The reason you can't do that is because it'll leave a really foul taste and a foul smell in your water heater, and you won't really be able to get rid of it 100% anyway. So to avoid that, you bypass the water heater tank before you pump any antifreeze into it, okay? Alright. Let's see here. This is your thermostat. It's pretty basic. You can use the mode button to light it up and then go through. Fan is just the air conditioner running without the compressor. Always try to run on auto. So look, you go like cool high auto. Always use auto. And then, so now you just heard it kicked on. There's a lag time of about 5 or 6 seconds when you turn it on and off, so that's normal. Then if you go to heat, that's right there, and then off. Okay, right like that. So you operate your fan, which is nothing more than the air conditioner running without the compressor, so it just circulates air. Then you can run it on cool, which is your air conditioner, and then heat, of course, is your LP furnace, which is behind that grate right there underneath the oven. Okay, so sink and shower work like any other sink and shower. You always want to remember to run your fan with the shower because you want to pull any humidity out. These things are built super tight these days, so you always want to vent the humidity. this is your flush pedal right here. Okay, so the black tank is directly below. That's the black tank, right? So the bottom line with the RV toilet is you can't run it dry or without chemical. I'm going to turn the pump on because there's a little bit of water in the tank, so we'll use that for demonstration. Okay. So when you come here to the campsite, you're going to obviously park it. You'll hook up your power and your water. Then you'll come in here. Like I said, the black tank is directly below. So when I'm saying when it's using it dry, I'm talking about the black tank, which is directly below it, right? So when you get hooked up, you come in and you dump your chemical, whichever brand you use. You'll put it right in the bowl, 1 dose worth. You find out what a dose is by reading the directions, obviously. Then you'll step on the pedal, and it'll flush it down. Now, excuse me, like I said, the black tank's directly below. So you just stand on this for a few minutes till you put about a gallon or so of water into the black tank. There's no way to tell exactly what a gallon is. You just have to use common sense. It doesn't have to be exactly a gallon. It could be 2 gallons. The bottom line is you just have to have some water and chemical in it when you start using it. So if you were, let's say your tank is full and you have to dump it, but yet you're still going to spend another week at the campsite. After you dump your black tank, you'd come in here and repeat that procedure. You put chemical and about a gallon of water in there, and you're ready till you dump it again next time. So trust me, if you run it without water and chemical, you'll regret it and you'll never forget it, because the smell is terrible, and as you might imagine. So okay, this is just a GFCI. Keep in mind that all the plugs are wired through a GFCI, even the one on the outside, so you always reset it inside. This trailer probably has 2 of them. Let me go look. It's right at the size where it could have 1, but it probably has 2. Let me look around here a little bit. I believe that's the only one here. Let me look around. Yeah, so that, as far as I could tell, you just have 1 in this trailer, so that would be the one you reset. Okay, but you can see they'll all say, like right here, it'll say it's GFCI protected. That just means the plugs are all wired through a GFCI. All right. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Okay, obviously you can drop the poles on your table and set the top on these cleats on each side and fill in the gaps with cushions, and you got a bed there. Plus you can jackknife this bed here by pulling up the bottom cushion. It'll jackknife flat, and you've got 2 beds. You can move this piece over to here if you want. You see there's another hook up there, so you can divide it right in half. So 2 people would have enough space. There's storage underneath with totes and that sort of thing. Same with your bed. You got like a foot locker situation under here. See, like that. I'm still not seeing your crank, so I'm gonna definitely run right to in the shop and put one in the trailer, because I don't see it. Okay, all right. Okay, so I guess that about covers it then. I'm looking around, I don't think I forgot anything. So remember what I said about inspecting the roof. That's important. You want to go up there every 90 days or so and just look around and make sure there's no cracking or separation starting. When you do, you don't have to redo the entire roof or have the entire roof done, just the spot that needs attention. So it's just part of owning a trailer, okay? All right, well, thank you very much for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit, and we'll go through the rest of your trailer when you come here to pick it up, okay? Thank you very much.